Bonjour! This is the video for your 1.4 quiz prep. It is much like all of the others we have done. So 1.4, pretty quick unit. It's a pretty quick test or quiz. There's not a ton on it. So as usual, got your Quizlet linked right here that you can use to study and practice a bunch of these new verbs, or one new verb really, but a few new concepts. Then we go right into our different parts. So there's 7 listening questions. It's exactly like the other one for the most part. It's conversations, so I will regrettably be reading for 2 different people, trying to distinguish between them. You all did okay on that last time, so I'm not too worried about it. There are 7 of these. Next is the writing portion. This is all the dialogue section. So it is a series of dialogues with fill-in-the-blank sections for you to fill in either the conjugated form of venir or the conjugated form of alle. You need to be able to decide based on the context of the conversation and the sentences which one it is. Should you be saying to go or to come, the conjugated versions of those. Now, I'll give you a little bit of a hint here. Not a hint, just something to look out for. The expressions you know with these 2 verbs are alle plus infinitive and venir de plus infinitive. So if in these fill-in-the-blank sentences you see a blank and it's immediately followed by an infinitive, then you know it needs to be alle. If you see a blank and it's followed by a de and then an infinitive, you know it needs to be venir. So as long as you can conjugate both of these and you can remember that there is a blank de infinitive is venir and blank infinitive is going to be alle, you should do okay on this section. One other thing for this section, I don't want this one to trip you up. I'm sure you remember the phrase ça va from French 1. You don't hear me say it as much because you can't answer, so I don't often ask you, how are you doing? Because that's what ça va means. But that va in there, in ça va, is the conjugated form of alle for il, elle, right? Va. Ça va, how's it going? So if you see a question or fill in the blank on this section that includes a sa, which is a C with a cedilla, and then an A, and then a blank, the answer is going to be va. That's just the phrase ça va, which you know. That could trip you up if you weren't thinking about it. Then the next section is the sentences section. There are 5 of them this quiz. All of them will be using the word depuis, right? So that was in the last section of your lesson 4 notes, the 3rd video for those notes. So all of these will be using depuis. So remember, write your sentences down here and I will check them for you. But let me walk you through how to do these for just a second so you're not going in totally blind. So, you know from the notes, from the video I made, that the way to use depuis is you use a present tense verb, then the word depuis, and then either a start time or an elapsed amount of time. So for the first one, I have lived in city since or for, and then a period of time. So since or for, that right there in all of these is depuis. So the way I would write this in French, we know we need to use the present tense. In English, I have lived, that's not the present tense. But in French, that is how we will write it. So I would write, j'habite, I live. And then we need to say in, which is a, which is an A grave. To insert that, you just need to go to insert, special character, and you can just type in a grave. Click on it. So j'habite à, I live in, and then we wait for our computer to stop being frozen for however long that takes. J'habite à Maribel, because that's where I live. Depuis, since, and then I can either say a year or I can say an amount of time. J'habite à Méréville depuis 1995, which is how long I've lived here. Or I could say J'habite à Méréville. Now I have to do math, which is embarrassing. Depuis 25 ans. I've lived in Maryville for 25 years. 26 years. It's 2021 now. 26 years. Okay? Either one of these is acceptable. So either a start time or an elapsed amount of time. But that's what I mean when I say time. Same thing for the next one. Same thing for the next one. Same thing, just choose between bike or car. I'm sorry if you have neither a bike nor a car. You will just have to lie. And this one as well. Just choose a sport or an activity that you do and how long you have done it. That's it. That's this section. It's not too bad, but if you try to just plug this into Google Translate, it will not do it correctly. I'll demonstrate that for you now so you believe me. So actually, let me just put those back so we can see. So this is what your answers should look like. So I will take this over to Google Translate. I will type this in. I'll change these to the right. I've lived in Maryville since 1995. We'll make it say French. Okay. So, as you can see, je vis à Méréville depuis 1995. This is different than what I have, and it is wrong. This is the wrong verb. This isn't a verb you even know, so every time I see you write this, I know that you looked it up because you don't know it. So, yeah, just follow my example here. You're making it harder for yourselves. Email me if you have any questions. Au revoir.